Hello, you. Welcome to Geekism and welcome back to Fairview Lake, our challenge mode park in Planet Coaster 2. Today we're going to be working on our 90s area that's got a bit of a sort of 90s mall aesthetic. We've got a couple of flat rides that we need to sort of box in. I want to try and get a bit of a centerpiece for the area as well. I'm thinking a nice big clock might work well. And then hopefully if we have time we'll get started on our next attraction, which is going to be a go-kart track. So yes, to begin with, I want to start to make a bit of a centerpiece here that alongside the food court here will sort of talk us through the feel of the area, kind of like, you know, get a bit of a design for the area. So I need to try and find a, just like a nice, I'm going to pause the game. Oh, no, I'm not going to press P into the search. No, I'm going to press P into the search twice. Now I'm going to pause the game. Okay, you try and find like a nice, like real plain stone block. I don't know what I've got that'll work for this. Just a very so there's these, but they're a bit too, and they're huge, but also a bit too rough. I mean, we could just be doing it with art shapes if there's nothing else in the game, but I would like something with a slightly more matte texture, really. I mean, the other option is we try and sort of build one out of these wall pieces. But yeah, there's this one. No, I think it's going to have to be an art shape job. I don't think there's anything in the game that'll get close to what I wanted to. Okay, so we'll go art shape and we'll go cube. Okay, we'll bring this here. I also want a stone guest. Give ourselves a bit of scale here. Not a stone gust, a stone guest. There we go. Apologies if you're watching this series sort of as and when it comes out. Apologies for there being a bit of a lack of videos over the last few days. Just moving house, moving in with my partner, which is very exciting, but has also just taken a fair old chunk of time. And sort of free time outside of the day job at the moment is sort of packing up boxes. Luckily, I haven't had to do, because I've got my apartment till the end of October, but sort of moving in with Ali whenever I can. So I haven't had that one big day where you've got to get everything out, so I've just been going and doing bits and bobs here and there, and it's been a lot more achievable. Okay, there we go, and it's all going well. So thanks for those of you in the chat who've been asking about that. It's been going good. We're very excited for the future. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I mean, really, there should be some... Obviously, there should be something in between these. But I feel we don't really have to worry about it, because like, it's just going to be implied that there's a beam running through that. And really, unless you come into like here and really see through, I don't really think you're going to notice. So, there we go. What do we think? It might just bug me knowing that there's nothing there. So let's go concrete. The same colour. Okay, let's try something like that. Actually, that but a little thicker might work for higher up this. I'm not basing this off anything exactly specific, although it is loosely based on a clock tower from a mall in Erin Mills. If you want to Google that, you can see what I'm working towards, I guess. Classic sort of 90s architecture clock tower. It's got a bit of an Epic Universe feel to it as well. It's like a big tall tower that sort of sits ominously in the middle. Okay, so we'll go there. I'm going to bring you up. Oops, no. Duplicate you and bring you up, and actually make you a little bigger and give you more of a grey colour. That's good. I'm going to try and make it so I just have to make one corner of this thing and then sort of copy it around. So I think something like that is good. And then we'll probably need the rectangle piece, or actually maybe the square piece is better for us to work from here. We can make it the same size, that's good. Bring it down. yeah, just want to continue to say thank you so much for the support that this series has had. It's so good to hear that people are finding this like as a way to try and get into the game themselves. It is daunting. One of the things that you hear a lot with the Planet games is it is daunting to get into them. So the fact that something like this, where I sort of bumble through stuff, is helping people realize that, you know what, when we watch a time lapse or you know, like even just like a walkthrough of the finished product, it isn't always rainbows and sugar plums to get there, you know. Okay, let's do something like this. Say that's there. I'm going to try and keep these really neat because I don't think there'll be a base on this. I think you'll be able to look up into this structure, and therefore we want to keep it real nice and tidy. How wide does it go? It probably goes that wide. I also like the idea of people being able to sort of walk through this, which we might be able to do with the pathing. We'll have to have a little play around with that. Okay. So we do this. And maybe if we do it without the guests, that might help. There we go. Now we're all, because I say we should be all on the same grid here. Yeah, we should be able to do this. And again, just want to kind of get a vibe for this, make sure it's doing what we want it to do before we really lock in. I think so far so good. Yeah, I like that. Again, it isn't really going to do anything other than just be a thing in the middle with some. I mean, I suppose we could turn it into like a little stage that just doesn't have anything on it. That's always an option as well, rather than just have it as a standalone piece. Actually, yeah, I quite like the idea of making it a stage. Yeah, maybe we can do that. Okay. Whoops. Well, if that's the case, we just have to kind of bring the whole thing up off its base, and then if we get some plaster, we do a plaster square. So we'll find the one we need. It's this one here. Where are the non-gridded pieces? Oh, that's lime. Plaster floor. Where's our non-grid pieces of plaster? Here we go. Plaster wall. Okay. Put that there. And I think it needs to be a grey, maybe even darker. Don't need to blend too much into the floor, but we don't get too dark, so we'll go there. Okay. And on that side. Okay. So that's the new base of the thing. It'll need something around the bottom. What do we need around the bottom? Not sure. We'll come back to that. Okay. So next piece is going to be here. I'm going to take it that way. Okay. That 5mm is useful, but geez, you have to get it just right. Okay. And then we're going to fill in the top here. Actually, maybe we're better off using one that's slightly bigger. And it'll just be a little easier to work into that now. That's good. Okay, so we'll take it down so we can line it up. Oh, that's actually pretty much spot on. It's come this way just slightly. Okay, and then we'll take it higher. Yeah. We might be worth building the whole thing there and then raising it up. The easy way to do that is split this from the building, and then we're in our own building now. And then we'll add it all back in once we're done. So we'll take that to the same amount. And then really we have to adjust these. Oh, we're not in a building anymore. Let's go make a new building. There we go. We really have to adjust these to kind of be the same amount of lip all the way around. It doesn't have to be exact, but it certainly helps. I'll bring that up. So it's about right. And then we can do this. There we go. And then we'll get rid of that one on its own. Come into here. Whoops. Said it before, I'll say it again. I never purposefully pick that box. It's always by accident. I would very much love to have that as a toggle to turn off. I'm sure some people love it. I really don't. Okay, can we neaten this up a little? Okay, so if we take that there and there. Okay. So it's the benefit of building all of this on the grid. So we can move this over. We've picked the wrong part though. We want this side. And when I say building us on the grid, I realize none of this is on the grid actually. But what I mean is, when you start building it, you just build it on the world grid, so that no matter what you've got selected, you can always choose that world grid, and it just makes everything a lot easier. That's fine. We'll fill that other bit in afterwards. Just keep taking this around. And again, we're going to line up with a piece we've already got. That's okay. We can use it as a perfect way to line it up, and then just delete one of them. Okay, so let's take this piece. I don't know why I'm rotating it. It should be the same. More. There we go. And then we should be able to fit those in. There. Where else are we missing here? Is that it? Okay, that's it. Then we'll. I actually quite like it on the lip, but I want it there. But we could always. What I was going to do was bring it to the bottom anyway, so we can actually bring it to here. And we're just making ourselves less work by repeating these. So I think if we do that, if we bring in and make all of this one a nice colour, maybe like an orange. There we go. And now we can come out of that, bring all of these together into the same piece. There we go. That starts to form that. That's great. Okay. All right. Let's see what's next. We have an archway that we might actually be able to use one of the mythical archway pieces in the middle. Let's see. There's this one. Ooh, yeah, it might work actually. Let's see if there's a little less. See, that one's better. It's got this weird thing along the top. I just don't understand this one at all. But there it is. Whereas that one's a lot more ostentatious, as is that. We could maybe use this. Let's see what we do. We make all of this colour be closer to what we need. Either cream, yeah. Okay, so maybe make you orange. No, yeah, that looks too. I think silver makes it just look like metal, so that's good. And then these two pieces of the marble, I guess, which we could probably cover up anyway. Okay, so how about if we do... What happens if we try and connect these in a square? Yeah, I think this is okay. We have to cover that marble up. Oops. Are we not in the grid here? We can be. There we go. Nice. Yep, and then those four pieces are going to generate the base of the grid that we're working with. So let's go to here. Let's see if we can make this work. Okay. So finding the middle of this is quite tricky. So let's see it's there. I suppose what we could do is scale this up and then find the middle by having it sit. It's probably a more technically correct way to do this, but this to me is going to be good enough. And then that goes up to like there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to come to cube. So we're going to do this cubes again, I think, or maybe no, square. Okay, and really we're going to use. We can copy this because we're going to. This is the angle we want. We want a piece that goes from here into the middle. Does that do that? No, it actually doesn't. It needs to go one more that way. Yeah. Ah, so we've actually built these a little wrong. They're all poking out a little bit, but I don't mind it. That's fine. We want this to be something like this. Actually, let's just start this again. One click that way. Okay. Into here, and just small enough to cover that. I'm going to line this up just right, but I think this will work. So we're going to cover up that piece there. I'm going to come out this way a little to about there. I'm going to turn this 45 degrees and shrink it so that its points, whoops, just point out. Now, I don't know if there's an equation for that, but I feel there probably is. I don't know what it is. We take it to there, and then to there. And then down to match that one. Okay. And we'll copy these. And basically do the same on the other side. So we'll take it to that corner. And then neaten it. Okay. Ooh. Whoop, 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 whoop. Come back in. There we go. And then we're going to select all of these. We're going to copy them. We're going to make it a nice color. We're going to copy it again. I'm going to make it basically a white. And then we're going to copy it again. Put it back to that grey. think was that just grey. Okay, and then we're going to take all of that. Oh, we're in the grid here, so we have to go all of that. Remove these, remove that. Okay, and then copy that over to here, making sure it's roughly lined up. I don't really concern myself about this being exact, as long as it's roughly right. And we'll put that there. I'll select this side too. And then hopefully we should just be able to go. There we go. And that is almost dead on. Yeah, not too worried about that being spot on. That's pretty good. Happy with that. Okay. So now we need to box in this metal thing. So let's do some hoarding. I think hoarding is the way to go here. Because we really need is something that will just tie into this. So that doesn't look right at all. It's this 5 degrees. It's really good for precision, but a lot of the time it's a little too delicate. There we go. Oops. Okay. So we'll paint that in. I can't forget what colour we made this now. I think we just did it grey. Okay. So if we do this as grey, it's too dark, too light. It's actually got to be around there to kind of tie in. Slightly warmer. It looks like it's about right to me. And we'll take those, pull them over this way. Okay. And I just kind of love this just metal support for nothing really, you know. It feels very very 90s mall. I feel like we could probably even work something like this into this. Let's see, because this is just kind of the look we're going for, really. Something like that. Oh. How does this work? Oh, it's got it on both sides. Okay. There isn't really an in or an out. Oh, maybe not then. It kind of needs to be inside itself. But we can bring these up. How high would this thing even go? Maybe one more than that. Maybe if we turn these that way, shrink them down a little. Shrink them down a little and then readjust them. So they're sort of where they need to be. I need to come this way a little. Okay. Take them down to there. And then copy them up. And I suppose we can hang some lights off there or all sorts, right? Big spots pointing down. They would have those what do they call them? Like lights but with little patterns on them, like parkans, I think, or something like that, are they? Like, that would be pretty cool. But otherwise that's pretty sweet. I feel like it would probably go this way too. These things aren't quite square. I think we get away with. I think we get away with that. Just as it looks like part of the rigging. And then if we put one of those in here, no, don't like that. No, I think it's gonna be there. It does need something. It looks a little too. There's too much going on here for not enough support there. So I think maybe we have to take these down through it. That I think that's probably right. Whoops. Oh, and that's interesting. Actually, they actually perfectly fit inside that support, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. And then we can try moving these in as well, but I don't know if it'll look right. Because there is going to be something in front of these as well, so maybe it works. Let's have a look. Or that. I think it's better with it open. The next thing is the clock face itself. I don't want to use one of the in-game clocks. I don't think they look great. Well, they're fine actually, but they're way too busy for what we're doing here. This needs to be much simpler. So we're going to just get a. I think we're going to do something like this. Because then if we try and animate it, we can hide the things in the back of it. Let's have a look. So we can line it up neat so it looks right. It starts to eat away at that the archway we built there though, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Yeah, the archway we've done there is actually quite small. Maybe that works better. Like that. I don't hate that. Maybe we can go a little lower. Yeah, that looks good to me. Whee! Okay. Alright. So in there, we now need a circle. We should be able to just pull up and shrink down a little bit. Okay. Start getting the colours where we want them to be. This needs to be like a bluey grey, I think. So let's go blue, bring it down into the greys. Yeah, that's good. And then the inside colour just needs to be white. Or maybe a little off-white because the white is really quite bright. Yeah, that looks good. What are we going to use for the little dots? Probably just a sphere. Yeah, small enough. Goes right, then it's like 5%, right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that took way too long to show you the footage of. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just, a clock. Those things spin weirdly, but as you glance by, that'll look right. I'm sure if Taggy was interested, he could make an actual functioning clock in this game, I'm sure, but for me, there's one stick going around quicker than the other one, and that's good enough. Okay, so let's start thinking about how it's going to go in situ. I actually really quite like how it looks. It's plain, but to me that kind of works in the sort of style. So it's going to be roughly where it sits, where we want it to sit, which I think is about there. Yeah. And then we'll get rid of you. And it really does need a thing underneath it, so let's just go. Let's just duplicate you. I don't really know why it doesn't. Actually, let's just duplicate one of you, because we can really scale this up. and it'd be fine. There, and down there, and just be a darker grey. Something like that. Okay, that's fine. And then, like it's going to be a stage that nothing really happens on, which I think is quite fun. So, but we need to try and make it look like it's a stage that nothing's happening on. So let's do some. Oh, we've already got support selected. There's going to be some stuff that we can use here. So we do something like this. Let's pull it out. Okay. It's probably there is fine. And if we can get both of those sitting in there just right. There we go. And we'll make them black. At least very, very dark grey. Let's have a look. Yep, that looks good. And then off of these, we need some speakers. So we have these ones that are like real show speakers, which are kind of perfect. And they're big. Maybe they are too big. Because I always think we used to make these in the first game using multiples of the other one, but maybe they are a bit too big. So they probably wouldn't be everywhere. Let's put a track on. Let's find some, not ambience. Can they only be ambience? Is that something we can change? Oh, here, music. There we go. So we want some, like, really awful electric. What's this one? I mean, there it is. What's it called? Planet Euphoria. Yeah. Oh, it's awful. That's great. So if we make this on this side as well. Make it work there. Yeah. That'd be so aggressive to walk past. That's kind of perfect. Okay. And then if we do something like this. Yeah, that's great. Okay. And then lights wise, lights. Yeah, there's no moving lights or anything in the game currently. The Studios Pack had a few ones that would like swoosh around. It's pretty much going to be these ones are the ones we use. And these are fine. They are the right sort of looking light for what we want to do. Just gonna make sure we get them lined up nice in the spot. There we go. And the actual colour kind of needs to be all kinds of things. Go. And then let's just push all those up a little and into there a little. The problem is they don't really connect very well, but that's fine. I also feel like at night time it's going to be way too bright. Let's see what nighttime does to it. I mean, sure. The light will bleed through, but otherwise it's actually not as... It's pretty bright, but that's fine. We play in the day for the most part. We like the slightly setting sun there. Get some shadows in it. That's cool. All right. So there we go. There's our 90s mall style stage. The last thing we'll do then is rather than use barriers to cut this off, we can just delete it with the draw tool straight. So we can just go like this. And it should. I mean, this is great. Yeah, perfect. There you go. And I quite like the fact that that's a stage, but half the time nothing even happens on it. That's just good fun. Yeah, this thing in the mall has like little bells and stuff in it, but I actually just quite like it. It's just like a structure with no use. Okay. Maybe there would be benches around it, like for when there is a show. What would they look like? Because I don't know whether we would just have plain benches just sat in a row. Would these be more like concrete slabs? Yeah, that doesn't look right as benches, but maybe if we make them as a concrete slab. Let's just do that. Let's do one there. Oops. And we'll bring it this way. And then duplicate it. Snap nice. Okay. And then on top of these, we come in with some plaster. Where are we? I never find the... We can never find it. There we go. This stuff will do fine. Okay, maybe a pause, because that music is perfect, but because it's perfect, it's terrible. There. Let's bring them up to there. This will definitely be just applying grey. Okay, there. So there. Then something like this. What does the other side of this look like? We get a bit of texture in here. No, it's too thick. We're probably better off just using the plaster pieces. If I did plaster wall, how about we just get rid of the plaster bit and use this? Here it is, plaster wall. So, just have it not come in too much. Awesome. All right, there we go. There. This side. And then we need the smallest piece of it, which we should be able to shrink down to be on the end there. Yeah, perfect. Lovely. There we go. And just concrete is probably a little rough, so how about we do some plank? Just going to make it a little bit more homely. Round. Maybe just 4, that's probably okay. I'll make one of them. Doesn't seem to do anything. We'll try that one. We'll make one of them a little lighter. There we go. Does that even happen? I don't think so. So there. Let's see if we can line all this up nice. There we go. And then I'm just thinking there's that one aquatic piece. If it fits, it'll look really good here. It's just like a handle. Where is it? What would it be? It's not that one. It's not that one, but it's going to be around here somewhere. There's that one. Yeah, that wasn't the one I was thinking of actually, but that will probably do nicely. I can shrink this down enough. Perfect. There we go. This can be a nice darky teal blue. We'll go there. There. And there. That looks great and gross and uncomfortable, and I think it would do exactly what we need to do. Okay. So we'll take both of those now to there. And do that many rows. Maybe not that many. Or maybe bring them this way a little. And then the other side. And it'll be like a weird, not quite in the round type show. Yeah. That's pretty good to me. In that it doesn't. I hope you understand what I'm saying things like that. Like, it looks gross, and therefore I like it. Like, I very much want that sort of cheesy 90s view of it all. In the last episode, somebody very correctly pointed out that we should have the toilet sign over here as well. So that people know where they're heading. It's a very good suggestion. Yeah. And then I had a few comments regarding these, but personally, I think what we've got started here is probably the way to go. So we'll come into here, take these across. There we go. I don't think, the only thing I don't love about these, I don't think they go much smaller than this. Yeah, it's actually as small as it goes, which is a slight issue because it would be nice to shrink it down a little bit. I think this is the same. Yeah. Let's put that right there. And then color-wise, we'll make you orange, make you teal this time, make you pink, you a purple. Okay, let's see if we can box in the queue line here for this claw. I don't know whether we'll get the whole thing done in this episode, but we'll give it a good old try. Again, we're just going to be really focusing on the support structures. Lots of like really over the top support structures. This kind of stuff is perfect, actually. I wonder, can we work off the grid here? Select all connected parts, move, exit. No, I don't think that's an option with flat rides, is it? Okay, that's fine. But yeah, we're gonna. There we go. We can do it this way. All right, we'd like a lot of this kind of stuff. There, and this will help in a few different ways, but mostly it'll obviously just looks nice, which is important. But as far as the game is concerned, the people will be happier about sort of standing around. Okay, so I think I want to do something like that there. Okay, and then from that though, we need just a nice plain lattice. Yeah. Here we go. There we go. Pussycat trying to get at the door. Yeah. Oh, hold on. All right, sorry about that. I had to let the duck cat out and then sort of carried on building for a little minute. I like what we've got going on here, though. I think if we just take that across and basically duplicate it, I think that'll look fine. We'll do the roof separate. Let's take that across. That's good. Now, as far as fencing goes, I think we probably should work a fence into it before we really get over the top. So hold on, let's just do here, just so we can see the shape we've got of it. And I think I'm happy to use that one fence that we've kind of used a lot around this area. There's also this one. If this can go, can we change the color of this? Maybe we can't. No, see, it's still pretty good. But yeah, this one here, I think just will go really well in the space. Ties it all together. Let's get it on the right grid. I know we can do that somehow. There it is. Okay. Let's bring it over here. So if we just add it in here, and increase its size. I mean, we could go like that and really fill it in, but I don't think that's the way to go. I think like this. So it's still a separate piece is the way to go there. I think that'll look pretty good. I suppose we can also just get rid of the in-game one as well to really help. But let's put this where it's going to go. There we go. Okay. And then what we probably need to do is take these where they're going to be. I want to use this sort of corrugated roof here. So if we take that to there, okay, and then bring that to the middle where it's going to go, and then bring it up to there. That's kind of the structure we want to go for, I think. Alright, so let's try this. Yeah, I think that's good. I'll do a bit of it. There we go. I'm going to tweak the colours a little. Oh, and then do we do that middle one every other one? Yeah, that I didn't mean to do that, but actually looks pretty good every other one. It's probably a bit too much to do every one. Okay, so let's go to path and customize the style. So here we've got this swirl. I forget what it's called. Red swirly, I guess. Let's just copy it from here and see. So it's red swirly with dark grey. Now, can we do that with Q? Blue, vinyl, brick, arrow. No. So we could go arrow. Hold on. Guess path. So blue path, dark grey. So as much as I do like the texture, I do think I prefer being able to have these paths all be the same. I think that's overall a better way of doing it. And then we can, all of this just looks like the same floor and stuff. And then we'll do it here. Yeah. Yeah. I do think that's better. And then we actually covered that up, but what about if we do that? I think that just helps all ties it together a bit more. Boop. Yeah. Could maybe be a touch darker. That was dark grey, but maybe dim grey. Yeah, I think that's what it needs to be. Okay. Alright, and then we can go to path, to Q even, and basically make it the same. So it's not blue, it's now dim grey. And we will just do that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that looks good. We will not do that for now because we want to see the actual structure and where it goes. So let's go all of that. Oops. Let's go inside the building and then go all of that. There we go. We'll do the roof separate. We're going to go to there. We're going to have to really make this work. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Let's first of all add those in. Alright, so the first thing that's going to be the easiest thing to do probably is just to move to there. And have this either overhang a little or we'll change it up how it works there. I think we can do that. Okay, because now we can just get rid of those and those. That gives us that neat point. We can get rid of those. Those. Actually, we don't need to get rid of those, but that's okay for now. If we then do something like this, should be able to just keep going down here with this. Let's see. I think this will be okay once the once everything's done and dusted. We're going to have a little bit of an issue in the corner down here, aren't we? Like, let's take all of that and see where this wants to go. Yeah, we're definitely going to have an issue in the corner here. So we can clean up this and clean up that and that, those two there. Oops. Okay. And then these two, oops, sorry, these three, yeah, can just get pointed to because that's just be a corner piece. And then we're going to need to do something here, but that's, I don't mind having to do that, like on the edge of the shape. For now, though, we'll take those around. We'll keep these in place. So there. Let's get rid of those for a minute, though. That's not quite right, is it? There we go, that one. Go on. Go on. Okay. Alright. So that comes to here. This is going to look such a mess until we turn the in-game one off, but I think it's okay. Here. Maybe we don't. Maybe we put a chain there, and that would make some sense. I think it might. Yes. Alright, so actually we want to get 1, 2, 2, 3. Turn it. Bring it across. Start working in. Okay, so once we get around the corner, it's pretty standard stuff. We're going to keep doing that. Okay, so we'll select all of that. What else do we need? This piece, the base for it, this piece, and the base for it. And then we'll copy those to there, apart from that piece in all of this needs to get swung around that way. Okay, that's fine. So I'll go there again. That piece. Nope, sorry, that piece. And that piece, and that piece, and that piece. Copy those. And again. And one more. Okay, and then here, we can just add it all up. So that goes there. And easiest way to neaten this up is do all of them once, I guess. So there we go. And then bring it this way to line up with it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So go in just slightly. And then you need to swing around and come to here. We should go down a little bit, make it fit. Is that going to be okay? I mean, the other thing we could do is a different type of fence there on the end. Could just do some chain link. That's not a terrible idea either. I forget what it's called. Mesh, metal, or just metal fence. Okay. All right. So let's go. Where can I get a good point from this on it? Oh, it's the whole thing rotates all which way, every way. Okay. Maybe off this building. Jeez. It works somewhere. There we go. Okay. Around there. Right over. Okay. Okay. Tip it up. That one. Pop it in. Let's see how far off we are. I think we just shrink that down. And like in world, I feel like there's a bit of a narrative where kids were jumping over this bit of the wall. Which maybe explains why this has been replaced with chain link. It's probably going too high if we do that. Yeah. Or if we bring it down just a shy. That might work. Might have to have a play with that once the roof goes in, but otherwise I think that's okay there. Okay, did we miss anything? That's all okay, that's all okay. So yeah, this little corner will need a thing, but otherwise, I think that just goes to there, doesn't it? It makes like a double fence. We move it to make sense. And then here we'll add chain, so we can chain and they can just loop around that way when the queue doesn't need to be as long. Okay, and then we'll take this all around. Obviously doesn't need to go all of this way, but I want to see what happens when we touch these here, because that's probably is where it's going to go to. And then these can come all the way down here. And yeah, there's just the slightest clip with those. We'll just bring those down underneath, and we'll just be happy with that little crossover at the end there. That's good. Okay, so here, probably go back to there with that. And then whatever we end up doing there makes sense. This, maybe we take this back. I think we take that back to there. Even though it kind of messes up here, I think once whatever the intro of the ride will be, like we need little signage and stuff here, I think we can make that work. Okay. Okay, let's go back to queue. Does that work? I think that's great. So there we go. We'll take it over there. All the in-game queue has gone away. And we're left with the 90s queue. That's great. We want to get rid of the in-game fence there at least. Like, it'll need something else around it, around the back of it, but let's be honest, it's going to be don't-die fencing around the back of it. So let's go there. This bit of queue here is going to be just that little bit there. Boop. There we go. And then don't-die fencing just around the back of it. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay. Next episode, then we'll carry on with. We'll just keep working on this, and I'll kind of do a similar thing over there. But there we go. I feel it's not one of the ones where I feel like not much has got done, but that did take us a while, and I hope you enjoyed seeing it get put together piece by piece. And the kind of aesthetic we're going for sort of ties here and here. We need to probably bring a bit of cream over to this, just to kind of really tighten it, because it's quite blue at the moment. But yeah, overall happy with that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Till the next one. Be good.